Okay, hello out there in Crowden community land. How are you? This is Eugene Sor talking to you. Those of you who are new or unfamiliar to Crowden, I'm the Associate Artistic Director. We're a music center in Berkeley, California. And today I'm with four lovely guests, Isabel and June and Anna and Sophia. They comprise the Meráki Quartet, who study in our community music program. The Meráki Quartet was to have performed a concert tomorrow at Crowden, but of course, since we're sheltering in place, we've had to cancel that concert. So instead, we're going to play some clips of their previous concerts and share those with the community. Talk to the young ladies here who were formed in the fall of 2016. And at the time, they were all college freshmen, age 14. And from there, they quickly went on to win second place in the Menuhin seminar, the Galante Prize here in San Francisco. And that was only about 4 months after their formation, I believe, right, girls? And I think after that, they've since gone on to appear on the NPR program From the Top in 2018. They won the bronze medal in the Fischoff Chamber Music Competition last year, 2019, and have been just wonderful ambassadors for Crowden and sensational musicians all, and sensational people. And I also want to mention, in addition to me working with me every Saturday for these last 4 years, they've also been primarily working with Bonnie Hampton, and they've coached with such luminaries as the Alexander String Quartet, the Izuri, the Verona, Van Queek, Catalyst, Telegraph, Houseman, Juilliard, Emerson quartets. So they've worked with members of all those and more. And next fall, they'll all be off to college, and they'll be headed off to Rice and USC, all four of them. So I'm so thrilled for all of them. It's so exciting. I'm going to miss them all. It's I'll get into it more later, but 4 straight years of working with one quartet of this level of artistry has been a real treat for me. And there have been many great musicians who have come through Crowden previously, and many more coming up who are still coming up right now. But to find 4 musicians like this who have been together really since they were young kids, before they even formed the quartet, they had played together in various combinations since as early as age 9. Really has been just a privilege and a treat, and kind of an aligning of the stars for Crowden. So it's been a treat. So anyway, I'm talking a lot. I want to let the quartet members speak a little bit, and maybe, I don't know, I'm going from I'll go clockwise from my left. And I guess that would be Isabel. I don't know if your screens are oriented the same way. But Isabel, how are you? Isabel Nichols is the cellist of the quartet, and just want to start by asking each of you, how you've been staying active during the shelter in place, and musically speaking, of course, but in other ways as well.
It's definitely been a little bit hard to stay motivated, especially since college auditions are all over. It's really easy to relax and not want to do anything. But for me, I've been trying to do a lot of projects, collaborating with other musicians. We've been doing quartet meetings where we discuss our pieces and kind of musical ideas we want to try out when we can get back together. But definitely just trying to collaborate still has been really helpful in trying to remain motivated and inspired during this time. I've been doing like duets with cellists through my orchestra. and then also just like arranging songs that I can play with other people and just exploring other types of music that I wouldn't necessarily have time to pursue in my normal way of life, I guess, which is kind of nice.
Nice. When you collaborate with those other musicians, are you submitting individual tracks? Is that how you're just kind of mixing them?
Tracks, and then we play with a metronome, and then we line them up, and it works pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Well, it's good to hear you're keeping busy there. How about you, June? What's going on with you these days?
I've been listening to a lot of music, not just classical. I mean, I've been listening to like jazz, rock, hip hop, a lot of different genres of music, just to, like what Isabel said, to I guess just to be able to understand like more genres than just classical. But I've been listening to a lot of classical too.
Nice.
And, I've also been collaborating with a few other musicians in the Bay Area, and I guess just having lessons with my teacher also is keeping me active musically, and I guess watching like college orchestra videos make me very excited and motivated as well.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's an exciting period of life coming up for all four of you. I'm so thrilled for all of you. What about you, Anna? What's going
on? So I guess most recently I've been working on a lot of like etudes and things. I met with my new teacher, Professor Dick Duro, and we talked about some things that we're going to address. So I've been starting to work on that, which is very labor intensive. And then I've also been doing some collaborations with like friends that I've met in the sort of like a group of kids going to USC, and we've been making like pop song covers together with some of the vocal like pop. I've really enjoyed working a little bit again outside the genre. Has been a great opportunity for that.
Sounds terrific. So you've been meeting up with some of your future USC classmates already?
Well, only online, yeah. But
nice.
yes. Yeah.
Technology, great. And Sophia?
I mean, kind of along the same lines as everyone else, trying to find motivation in little things is really helpful. For me and for most of our quartet too, shelter in place kind of happened a short while after audition season ended. So it was very serendipitous to end right before all these travel restrictions were put in place, but also just from like a musical standpoint, I took like a pretty big break from practicing, and I found that despite me just having like not as much energy, I like want to practice more now after that, especially because this year was kind of crazy for all four of us preparing for college and trying to like rehearse as much as we could, preparing for concerts. But I think like taking that break made me, it relaxed my body obviously, but it was like helpful for me to find like the desire within to practice again. So I think now like my relationship with violin and practicing is a little stronger because I had that break from everything. But of course it would be a lot better if we were able to rehearse in person, but we've been trying to manage by just each of us doing our parts. And I think the fact that we can all look forward to our time together now is something that's really, really special, and not like 3 times a week like it has been at other times in the year. I think I can speak for all of us when I say that it makes us a lot more driven to just do as much as we can together and really use that time to be as make the most of our time. So I feel like the motivation aspect is slowly but surely coming back, and hopefully things will go back to normal soon.
Yeah. I hope so. I've been thinking a lot about how on the one hand, of course, it's so unfortunate about canceling the concert tomorrow, but or on May 3rd. But on the other hand, I think about how resilient all 4 of you are, and how how you're really resourceful and can find ways of working together and still be productive and still feel inspired, and also just what rational people you are too, like how you're able to just know that at the end of all this, this period, this present is a time of growth, personal growth, and you're using it effectively, and also a time of relaxation, too, as you need it, and also there's something to look forward to in the future for all four of you collectively and individually. So I'm glad to hear you're keeping busy that way, and I'm not surprised. Want to delve back further into the past now a little bit with each of you, and maybe if you can talk about each of your experiences, beginning in music, and how you came to be connected with Crowden, and all the years basically leading up to the formation of the quartet, and how it came to be that you finally all four decided to play together, and how that came about. Maybe if you can just start at the beginning of your journey, like when you first picked up the violin or the cello, and talk about that. Maybe we can start with June this time.
Okay. Well, I started the violin when I was around 5, and I picked it up basically because my sister was playing violin, and I was attending her lessons with Miss Valolian, and then Miss Salon was like, would you like to play violin? And I was 5 at that time, and I was just like, okay, yeah. That was basically how I started violin. And I think I also got introduced to Crowden by Miss Valerian as well, because she was working there at the time, and I met her at my public school because they were doing some sort of teacher or like music teacher, and I don't really know, but I met her at my school somehow. Yeah.
Right.
And she introduced me to Crowden, and that was basically how it all started.
That's great. And then you, of course, I remember when you came to audition at Crowden for 4th grade. Yeah. I still remember, I'm going to tell a little embarrassing June story, but I remember when you played your piece, the first time I heard you play, you were, I forget what piece it was, but there were some long notes. There were some long notes at certain points in the piece, and I could see you mouth the counting, like when you were holding those, you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or something like that, and then you play all these flashy things, and then get to the long notes and go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you were really working so hard on the counting, and I thought it was really darling. It was.
Yeah.
And of course, all the other stuff. Do you remember that? you were mouthing all the counting. It was funny.
Yeah, rhythm has always been very difficult. And I feel like with the Crowden education, I definitely, my rhythm got a lot. But it was a very difficult challenge. And I remember all of the lessons that I had where my rhythm suffered.
Well, I don't think it suffered too much, and actually your strengths are enormous. So yeah, it's been really wonderful to see you develop. What about you, Anna? How did you come to Crowden? You had a little bit different path than the rest of the quartet.
Yeah, definitely. When I was a little kid, when I was 3, I started playing Suzuki violin, and with my teacher, Mr. Berg, through the Crowden community program. So I've been at the Crowden community program for I didn't go to the school, and until when I was in 7th grade, he recommended that I audition for the summer strings program, or the chamber music program in the summer. And I was really nervous for it all, because I didn't know very many of the Crowden kids, and I was really worried that I was like they weren't going to talk to me, or I don't know, I would stick out or something. But everyone was just absolutely so welcoming and so friendly, and I loved playing with everyone. That's when I met June for the first time. We were in 2 groups together, so I had double June in that first year. It was great. And then I loved that camp that experience just so much that in the fall I signed up to be in the chamber music program during the full year, and then I just sort of participated in that until before the summer before our freshman year. We were sort of all talking, and we were like, you know what, let's just happen that way.
Can you repeat that last part? You just cut
Oh.
out just a little bit.
We were just talking in the summer before our freshman year, and we were like, hey, we like playing together, let's just start playing together. And that's just sort of how that happened, at least for me.
Yeah, I remember that. Those were some special days for sure. Yeah. And I remember, yeah, you played was it only 7th grade? I thought you were even younger than that, but yeah, I guess 7th grade. That's still young for that workshop that you all joined. But yeah, you played like the Mozart Hunt Quartet, actually, JT Posadas, who's the I should have mentioned the Bomber Quartet, of course, was one of your coaches as well. But JT Posadas, the violist from the Bomber Quartet, he still recalls that was one of his favorite groups to coach. Actually, you and June, and I think it was Samantha and Magali. Yeah, it was fun quartet. Sophia, how did you?
My introduction to Crowden is pretty similar to June's, actually, because we study with the same teacher. So Miss Beloyan recommended me to join the Crowden program, but the way I came to find violin was because I was also in the OUSD public school system, and they, fortunately, one of my teachers, my academic teachers, grew up playing violin under the Suzuki method, and she thought it would be very helpful to bring arts to kids by just giving us all a bunch of violins and like teaching us. But through that, a lot of kids found private teachers, and I wasn't really, I really loved playing the violin, but I didn't know where to go in terms of like a teacher. So she recommended me to Miss Beloyan, and then through her, I came to Crowden in, I think, the middle of 5th grade. And I was very behind, and I felt like very scared, but the community was very welcoming. And I think the way that I was able to feel more included from a musical standpoint was really through chamber music, because you just have to work together to get anywhere. So I felt very like I was always learning from everyone around me, and the class I came into had Isabel and June and all these amazing musicians, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can learn so much from them. So crowded environment, as well as just having chamber music as like that educational tool, was really helpful for me. And of course, we played in a bunch of variations. I think in 6th grade, June and Isabel and I were in a quartet together, and then we all kind of like rotated around in different ensembles. And I remember meeting Anna at the summer Crowden workshop, and I saw her play the Hunt with June, and I was like, oh my God, they're such amazing violinists, and how amazing is it that we all found each other in the end. So we all played with each other in different variations, and then freshman year we found our match together, and I'm very glad that we did. So
I'm glad you did too. I should mention for those people listening who aren't familiar with Miss Beloyan, who is the violin teacher of June and Sophia, that's Hegene Beloyan, who's one of the great teachers in the Bay Area, has had so many wonderful students and is on faculty at Crowden. And Mr. Berg is Joran Berg, that's Anna's teacher, and he actually founded the Suzuki program at Crowden and has directed it for over a decade now, and just a wonderful teacher and a gentleman. I've learned a lot from him. They've been wonderful colleagues, Hegene Beloyan and Joran Berg, and of course their students' work speaks for themselves. I should also mention that these June and Anna and Sophia, they all are the violinists in the quartet, but they rotate playing viola. All three of them can play viola. Something we kind of pride ourselves on at Crowden, so that we get all the violinists to switch it a little bit and play a little viola, so we can play all this great quartet repertoire. Of course, moving on to Isabel now, and hear a little lower string perspective.
I mean, I started on piano actually, but my mom had always been like had an eye on Crowden because these artists, it was really important for them for me to have some sort of like strong art influence in my life, which they obviously wanted me to be a dancer because that's what the family does, but me being stubborn did not want to follow that in that track. So they really pushed for music, and I started cello to go to Crowden because I knew that piano wouldn't quite be the right fit. And then I just kind of kept going. It just felt like a part of my education. I never really thought about it as like a chore or necessarily something that like I would pursue, but it kind of just came naturally to me. And then once high school came, I realized that all that was kind of just gone unless I really created it myself. So that really pushed me to try and find a group, an orchestra, and like finding the right teacher for me to really get prepared for college. And that's how Meráki came to be. I had been talking to June about it. The three of them were already in a group, and I wanted to be a part of their music making. So June kind of eased me into the group. I remember we would talk a lot about it in math class, probably not the best time, but that was when we would always talk about our like music goals and stuff. So we decided to just make it happen, and worked out for the best.
Sure did. It's okay. Yeah, I should mention also to our audience that all four students here are outstanding academic students too. So that even though they're maybe talking about music in the math class, it's it's not as though they're failing math or anything. They're all going to excellent colleges, and yeah, they've just thrived academically too. And I really want to give a shout out to my academic colleagues on the Crowden faculty too, who are just amazing. So now we're here. Now you've formed the quartet. You've gone through your middle school years at Crowden, and now we're heading into high school, and we're in the fall of 2016. And you know, from then up till the present, it's been wonderful for me, of course, as one of your coaches, to see you develop again collectively and individually, and just to feel how our work dynamic has developed up over those years, where I can, you know, it's almost like raising, you know, when I see it raising my own son, of course, you know, just kind of how you don't have to micromanage everything along the way, you know, less and less and less each time, and until we're now at a point where you know, coaching session with you is really just like it's almost like I'm supervising an open rehearsal, you know, and I'm just chiming in rather than, you know, I remember the first rehearsal we had with the Haydn Emperor Quartet, where you know, I was telling you where to place every single note and every single phrase and how to color them and how to articulate them. And until this day, you know, where you're telling me how to do all that stuff, it's been really a wonderful progression for me. What has that experience been like for you, working together over these 4 years? I'll start with Anna.
Well, I mean, it's hard to sum up everything that we've done in 4 years. I mean, I think that working together has just come like so naturally, at least for me, that like it's hard to notice sometimes how much progress we've made in terms of like working and rehearsing together. In the beginning, it definitely took a lot longer to like carefully explain, like, oh no, this is what I mean, and like to try and like because we weren't like familiar with each other's musical languages, I guess, at that point. There's so much that comes like right away to us, and we don't even have to talk about some things, you know. And definitely in terms of like our sounds and having like a full, like a real quartet sound, that was definitely something I think, at least for me, I struggled with, and I think the group struggled with a little bit, because we do switch seats so much, and that is, you have to like really think about your job in the group. At least for me, whenever I switch seats, going from viola to violin is definitely a little bit of a challenge, but I think now it just comes almost like second nature to just be switching in the middle of a concert, in the middle of a rehearsal. And yeah, I think that we've definitely come a long way in terms of that.
That is one of the remarkable things about this quartet is, the way you're able to, rotate your voices and instruments even, and there's just absolutely no drop off in the quality, or when I listen to recordings of you, I mean, I have to really, only because I'm very familiar with you, I can kind of tell who's playing what voice, but really, I think it'd be, many people will be hard pressed to figure out who's playing what voice. You're so easily interchangeable and at such a high level. It's really impressive. Sophia, what about you? Have any how's being in the quartet, affected your development as a musician, and do you have any favorite experiences or anything?
Yeah, so as far as like personal development, we all had some chamber music background before coming together, but I think one of the benefits of having a long-term quartet for me was I really learned just how much of a collaborative effort it truly is, and how everyone has to always bring 100% to rehearsals. And just in terms of working together, you can only collaborate with people if you're very clear in how you articulate how you want to express a phrase, or how you want to suggest to rehearse a certain way. And I think personally that's helped me reflect a lot on how to properly, well, first of all, how to verbalize what it is that I'm trying to express, but also just how much conviction you actually have to have with an idea in music in order to make it come across. Because a lot of the times when we're trying to communicate to each other, but more when we're trying to communicate a phrase or an idea together to an audience, we really have to be clear in what it is we're doing technically and where we're going musically. And for all of us to be on the same page, we all have to be 100% engaged with each other and really know how to communicate that to each other so that we can effectively work together. And I think having that start small and then having our musicalities grow in 4 years has really helped me learn how to just be a better team player in that way. And bringing it to our solo practice, I think it's just having the music be the bigger picture is something I think that chamber music really emphasizes, because it's very easy to get caught up in everything technical and everything that's detail oriented, but especially when you're in a group, you just have to convey the bigger picture. And I think learning that and just trying to incorporate that into my solo practice has been like one of the biggest takeaways I've had.
Nice. Thanks, Sophia. Isabel, how about you?
I mean, I've always personally felt that we might have had already, just like coming from the same environment served as such a benefit for us, because we all sort of have a very similar approach to chamber music and even just our musical ideas. We've never really had very many disagreements, if any, very small, and they get solved very quickly. So in that way, I feel like we've been very blessed, because I know that in a quartet, there are often like really conflicting beliefs because of just different backgrounds and different educations, but we've all came from the same place and have the same beliefs and principles. So that's made our journey so much easier. I honestly don't remember any type of big disagreement we've ever had on any type of music. So that's always came really smoothly. I think definitely one of the main things that's like came together better was our ability to just learn from each other, just like from playing rather than from discussing every single idea. We now just kind of have our set approach in general, and that process has gone much smoother and much faster as well, because we can learn rep so much more quickly. Last year, we really put that to the test when we had to learn the last 2 movements of Mozart in 2 or 3 weeks, which we did not think was going to be possible. But that turned out to be actually doable, and it showed just like how much work we've put in and how we can become so much more effective and efficient in our skills as a group and also individually.
Nice. I would say the similar, pedagogical background certainly helps, but I mean, your ability to work out problems quickly and efficiently also speaks to just the way all of your character. I mean, you're able to, what am I trying to say? At Crowden, we always try to preach, solving problems respectfully, trying to lead, but also trying to listen equally, and trying to get your ideas out there, but also hearing other people's ideas, and if there is conflict, to resolve them, assertively but respectfully, and I think you all are able to do that, and that really speaks well of all of your character. June, how about you? What's your experience been like since being in the quartet?
It was very amazing. I got to be around 3 very intelligent, funny, smart people, and I feel like they really influenced me and helped me to grow and become a better musician. Playing in a quartet has really taught me how to become more confident as individually, solo-wise playing, and also just not even musically, just as a person. Playing in a quartet has really taught me to become more confident in myself. And I guess musically wise, playing in a quartet definitely, I feel like, improved all of our listening, like being able to just pick in on, like what Isabel was saying, how instead of like less talking, more just playing the piece and seeing and listening to what aspects we like and what aspects we don't like, and how our sounds blend in together or not blend in together. And I feel like playing in a quartet really taught me how to become a better listener, which is very important, I feel like. Yeah.
Great. Maybe I can just ask any one of you if you want to just kind of speak to the your experience in preparing for Fischoff and playing those concerts last year, and maybe how that's helped you this year in preparing for your college auditions. Anything from the manner in which you practice, or even like booking a airplane ticket, or all those things. How's that experience helped you? Anybody want to? Isabel.
It was a great way to really build our trust together. We worked so hard, and I was actually just looking through my camera roll. About a year ago was when we had our 6 a.m. rehearsal.
That's right.
We were doing all these crazy things to make sure we really felt 100% ready and comfortable under any situation to just be able to play our rep. And I'm still so impressed with how much work we put in. It's sad that we couldn't do this type of work right now. I know we really wanted to be able to push that because we're done with auditions. We have all this free time. But yeah, it's amazing that we were able to get so much work done and have such a polished program. It's always so nice to look at it and see those patterns and just see that all the hard work paid off. And it definitely also just prepared me mentally more for auditions, because all that pressure can be a lot. But having the opportunity to do it with other people that I really trust and love so much, it was honestly such a great process, and I learned so much, and I definitely felt a huge improvement. I know we had our concert before Fischoff and a concert after, and we felt such a difference in our level of playing and just our trust and everything. And I think it was just really a once in a lifetime experience for us, for sure.
Yeah, well, it sure was for me too, as one of your coaches. It was a special time. Does that sum it up? Does anybody want to add anything to that, or?
I mean,
no pressure.
When we were competing, I definitely felt a lot less pressure than when playing in auditions, because being able to play with other people that like are also your best friends really made it a lot easier, because we're all in this together, you know?
Yeah.
In college auditions, you're by yourself and you're a lot more exposed in it. But yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely mentally wise, it prepared me.
Yeah. Great.
I think for me, going into Fischoff, I was really nervous about like the practicing and rehearsing aspect when we were at the competition. I was really nervous that like I would forget to practice a shift one day and then we would play it next day in competition and I would just like forget how to play the violin or something. Like I had a lot of fear about that. But I think when we went there and we were able to rehearse so effectively and still practice like an appropriate amount without wearing like ourselves out, I think that definitely helped me when it came to college auditions, because I had a lot more faith in myself that like the things that I had been working on for so long were still going to be there, even if I did forget to practice that shift. So that was definitely a really helpful experience for me going into my college, that whole process, going into my auditions.
I have the same opinion as, or pretty much along the lines of what Anna was saying. For it really helped for college auditions, because I think like what she was saying about trusting yourself with practicing, because we were able to trust each other, it really changed my perception of how these kind of things are adjudicated. And I think more than anything, all four of us, we weren't really thinking about how to win a competition. We were trying to just play the music. And I think with things like competitions and auditions, you know, everyone has their own opinions and things are so subjective. And there's only so much you can do as a performer. But I think it really just ingrained that message in me that no matter if it's an audition, a competition, or a performance, you should always just strive to play the music to its fullest capacity instead of trying to win an audition or win a competition. And while it was we were so grateful to have even been awarded anything, I think all of us just realized how much we had to just keep music at the center all the time. And I think that's also why when we came back to rehearse later, we just clicked a bit more intensely and we were able to work more effectively.
Right. Well said, all four of you. Thanks. Really quickly, you all have your teachers chosen for next year as well as your university. So maybe just go around the circle real quick and just say where you're going and who's going to be your teacher next year. Isabel.
Okay. I'm going to be studying with Norman Fisher at Rice.
Excellent. Congratulations to you. June.
I will be studying with Paul Cantor at Rice as well.
Amazing. Anna.
I'm going to be studying with Glenn Dicterow at USC.
That's incredible. Wow. Okay. And Sophia.
I'm going to be studying with Kathleen Winkler at Rice.
So, wow. Congratulations to all four of you. Really, I mean, those are four of the most renowned teachers and really in the world. So, so what an experience this will be for all four of you. Congratulations. In closing here, I just want to, say how much of a joy it's been for me to work with the quartet. And it's been just a remarkable experience for me as one of your coaches, as one of your many coaches, to see you develop as musicians and as young ladies. It's hard to believe that you're all only 17 still. I mean, you just are so poised and such mature people and musicians. And I know that as great as these last 4 years have been working with you, the best is still yet to come for all four of you. And I don't know if that means collectively what's going to happen for the Meráki Quartet in the future, or individually for each of you. But I know whatever it is, it's going to be phenomenal. It's you just have such bright futures, all of you, and I couldn't be happier for you. You know, of course, this is a bittersweet moment because, you know, tomorrow, or, you know, I guess this is going to air today on May 3rd. This would have been a great concert. And I'm hopeful that, you know, and this, maybe come summertime, we can at least put something together, a recording together, another one of some of the material that you have been preparing. Be a nice little reunion before you head off to college. And of course, we'll keep the door open always at Crowden for when we have live concerts again. Be excellent to have the Meráki Quartet reunite and do a little something. I'd like to thank all four of you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Oh man, it's my pleasure, and I'm sure it's everybody in our Crowden community will really enjoy hearing you talk about music and your experience. Thank you to everybody in the Crowden community who is watching this, and please do enjoy some of the videos of the Meráki Quartet. Have a wonderful day, and be well during this pandemic, and I look forward to seeing you back at Crowden very soon.